Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. One of the first videos and one of the most successful videos I ever made on this YouTube channel was about the Startone MK400 keyboard. A beginner's keyboard for people who want to learn the piano. So today I'm quite happy to finally have the follow-up to that keyboard on this show. The Startone MK400. And I know you, my viewers, are well informed. This keyboard is also sold as the Medeli MK401. I know that most of my target audience is mainly interested in professional synthesizers and DIY stuff, but I have to say, this keyboard has more to offer than you'd expect. So if you're interested, please join me in this video. Here we go. Yes, it's been 8 years already since I filmed that review. The MK400 has been around for 3 years now, and this is the first proper review on YouTube. In the box you find the keyboard itself, a wall wart, some printed manuals and also a music rest that you can clip to the keyboard. The keyboard itself is light but sturdy. It has 61 velocity sensitive keys, that means you can play softer or louder depending on how hard you hit the keys. There's a pitch bend wheel and 2 speakers that are loud enough to play to a small crowd on the street or in a mid-sized room. Besides the volume knob and the jog wheel for selecting sounds and entering numbers, there's also a touchpad here that can do a couple of synthesizery things like filter sweeps, which we'll take a look at later. There's a power switch of course and the number of buttons for controlling the sequencer, selecting sounds and setting up the various functions this keyboard has. In the middle there's a relatively big LCD that shows the sound you've selected, the parameters and functions you've activated, and most importantly, it's showing the notes you're currently playing. This is great for learning the piano and learning sheet reading, so you can validate the notes you're playing are the ones you see on the sheet. There's also a microphone here for the built-in sampler. On the back, there's an SD card slot for storing samples and recordings, a USB Type 2 connector for MIDI, a sustain pedal connector so you can play slow piano pieces, headphone out, aux in so you can play along to your favorite songs, and a microphone in for the sampler. The MK400 has 580 sounds including 13 drum kits to choose from, and on top of that 5 slots for your own sampled sounds. The patches are extended general MIDI sounds, so you'll be able to play back commercial MIDI files using this keyboard. Oh, did I mention you can run this keyboard on 6 AA batteries? There's a compartment on the bottom of the enclosure that lets you do that. The included note stand is strong enough to hold a 300-page instruction manual, so it should hold the usual amount of note sheets for live performances as well. Before we take a look at the features, let's answer the most important question. How does the piano sound? So here you can listen to the first 2 piano sounds. The MK400 has a built-in sampler. You can use the internal microphone or the microphone input plug to record samples and play them back chromatically on your keyboard. Press the mix and record buttons simultaneously and the keyboard will start listening. Once it recognizes a sound, it will capture it for a maximum duration of 2 seconds. Find the pitch of your recording and assign it to the corresponding key, so you can now play melodies with it. There are 5 slots to store your samples on this keyboard. The MK400 has a two-directional touchpad that can be used to apply a resonant low or high-pass filter to the output or add additional delay and reverb effects. The MK400 is 16 parts multitimbral and 64-voice polyphonic, which means you can play 16 different sounds at once or 64 notes at once. Without using an external sequencer, you can utilize this on a keyboard in several ways. For example, you can easily create a keyboard split by pressing the split button. Select the sound for the left hand, then press the split button once again to select the sound for the right hand. Layering enables you to select two patches that will be played simultaneously for extra fat sounds. Twinova creates a keyboard split optimized for two people playing simultaneously in the same octave range. Using the harmony function, you can make the keyboard layer notes to make them sound fatter. Of course, the MK400 is also an arranger keyboard. There are 190 styles to choose from, and on top of that, 30 so-called mixes and 180 songs you can play along to. Each style has an intro, ending, fill A and fill B you can trigger with these buttons while playing. You can adjust the tempo to your liking, and there's also a learning mode. While the style is playing, you can quickly mute and unmute tracks using the menu keys on the right. Here, the sidechain effect will do its thing on the pad sound. If you install an SD card, you can record both MIDI and audio at any given time, which was really helpful creating this video. Using this keyboard with a computer, it will show up as both an audio device as well as a MIDI device. Using a program like Reaper or Cubase, you can then use this keyboard to record individual tracks to your computer both as MIDI or audio, and you can play back both audio and MIDI from your computer to the Startone speakers as well. MIDI control means you can play software synthesizers on a computer, for example. The Startone has some hidden secrets that are not in the manual. See, there is a MIDI implementation chart here, but I found out this keyboard is fully extended general MIDI compliant. So if you know your MIDI controllers, you can set them up to control envelopes, filter cutoff frequency, reverb, chorus, resonance, panning and much more, turning this from a simple PCM keyboard into something more synthesizer-like. If you own an external hardware MIDI controller, there's some real-time synth tweaking fun possible here that goes way beyond what the touchpad can do. Here are some sounds I came up with using these non-documented hacks. Verdict. The Startone MK400 has everything that made the MK300 8 years ago good and then some more, and in my opinion the $50 extra are absolutely worth it. The sampler is fun and being able to record directly to SD card is great as well. The integration as both a MIDI device and an audio interface for the microphone and headphone has to be applauded too, and being able to run this on batteries is another plus. Piano beginners will like the piano-sized velocity-sensitive keyboard and the better-than-average piano sounds, which both allow for expressive playing. And being able to use a sustain pedal is useful for learning the piano, as is the included note stand, the internal speakers and the helpful note display on screen. Professional keyboarders will dislike the lack of XLR or 6.35mm audio outputs, and you'll probably notice that the internal sounds on more expensive keyboards are better. You can work around this by sending the audio output to a DAW directly over USB and slightly editing the sounds or layering them. All in all, if you're in the market for a beginner's keyboard, the Startone MK400 is a solid choice that has some aces up its sleeve. So if you evolve from a piano scholar into a sound tinkerer, there's still something to be found here that will surprise you, from the sampler to the surprising and undocumented flexibility of the underlying synth engine. The Startone MK400 is around €170 or dollars at Thomanns. Here's one more demonstration I made using an external sequencer that makes good use of panning, filtering and the sampler.
No
Yeah, and that's it for today. The Startone MK400 or Medeli MK401, an entry-level keyboard that scores with a lot of interesting features. So if you think this was an interesting YouTube video, please do the YouTube thing. You can also support this channel financially by becoming a member or joining my Patreon. As always, thanks for watching and see you again very, very soon. Bye bye!